Fifthly, when you have exactly considered the precise points of inquiry, or what is unknown in the question, then consider what, and how much, you already know of this question, or of the ideas and terms of which it is composed. It is by comparison of the known and unknown parts of the question together that you may find what reference to the known part has to the thing that is sought. At this step, comparing ideas together, take due time, and do not be too hasty to come to a determination, especially in points of importance. Sixthly, when choosing your middle terms or arguments to prove any question, always use topics that are surest and least fallible, which carry the greatest evidence and strength with them. Be not so concerned about the number of your arguments. It is the weight of your arguments that is important. When we use a multitude of feeble and weak reasoning, we only tend to amuse our hearers with uncertainties. Let us use those which are more substantial, conclusive, and convincing. We should keep in mind, however, in some matters, that a larger number of probable arguments can increase the degree of probability, and can give a greater and sufficient confirmation to the truth which is sought. Seventh, when we are searching out the true meaning or opinion of any writer, or inquiring into any sacred doctrine of Scripture, we can come to a more sure determination of the truth by reading in several distinct places where the same thing is expressed or plainly implied. This reduces the chance of an honest, skillful reader mistakenly misunderstanding an author's meaning in only one or two places. When reading the Scripture, we get a much clearer idea of a principle or doctrine by reading the same matter discussed in various passages and seeing how they bring the matter into greater focus. Also, when we would prove the importance and necessity of any scriptural doctrine or duty, the multitude of texts and references where the matter is repeated and rehearsed upon the reader seems naturally to instruct us that it is a matter of greater importance than other things which may be mentioned only once or twice in the Bible. Eighthly, prove your conclusion, as far as possible, by some propositions that are in themselves more plain, evident, and certain than the conclusion. Common sense dictates to all men that it is impossible to establish any truth and to convince others of it, but by using something that is more well known than that truth is. Ninthly, we must learn to distinguish well between an explanation and an argument. And we should not impose upon ourselves, nor allow others to impose upon us, by mistaking a mere illustration for a convincing reason. Similitudes, metaphors, and other examples must not be taken as solid proof of the truth or existence of those things to which they have a resemblance. Oftentimes, too much attention and deference is paid to similitudes, or sometimes they even get completely rejected. We should be careful in how we use them and the number of them. Finally, when you are inquiring into any subject, maintain a due regard and consideration to the arguments, objects on both sides of a question. Consider, compare, and balance them well before you determine to one side. It is a frequent but a very faulty practice to hunt after arguments only to make good one side of a question, and to entirely neglect and refuse those which might favor the other side. The power of reasoning was given us by our Maker for this very end, to pursue truth, and we abuse one of his richest gifts if we basely yield up to be led astray by any of the meaner powers of nature or the perishing interests of this life.